Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, Anita Finley.
So I look at Nicole Andrews and I think of Yum because she is a dietitian, a nutritionist, and she has the greatest website. And I just have to tell everybody, please go there. It's livingfresh.org. And I go there. I mean, a lot of times it comes on my email, but I go there when I'm looking for something really yummy to fix. And you come up with very interesting recipes that are not too involved, what I think we all like nowadays.
Right. The idea is, too, with that is I really think people are just so busy these days. They don't have time to be standing in the kitchen for hours. So a lot of my recipes are quick, they're easy, and they have a few things in common. They're low carbohydrate or on the lower side. They don't have any gluten or soy, very little dairy. Nothing's fried, so they're very healthy, wholesome recipes. A lot of them have a lot of vegetables and superfoods in them. So I really take my time and try to find the best recipes and easy dishes that people are cooking and that maybe I can make a little bit healthier.
So I've been waiting for you because I wanted to ask you to make sure I'm doing the right thing. I've been using coconut oil because I hear it's so good.
Yes.
Is that okay to use for my...
coconut oil is great. In fact, there was a recent study that just came out that showed us that saturated fats aren't as bad as we thought, and that saturated fats got a bad rap because coconut oil is a saturated fat. And so saturated fats were thought to cause heart disease. And there's some current literature that shows us that saturated fats aren't the cause of heart disease. What's causing heart disease lately is these man-made trans fatty acids and these oxidized vegetable oils. So, and sugar really. And people are pointing fingers like, oh, cholesterol, eggs too have too much cholesterol, or coconut oil is a saturated fat. I don't know why people are using that, but it's really a beneficial oil. It's a type of saturated fat that has many different health properties. It has antimicrobial properties, and it's good for cooking because not a lot of oils take a high temperature because, say, for example, some people, and you see this on the Cooking Network.
Olive oil.
Oh, little EVO, and you turn it up. No, it's killing your extra virgin olive oil, and it's making a healthy fat unhealthy because what's happening is it's breaking down the molecular structure of the healthy oil that has the health properties. Coconut oil, on the other hand, is a saturated fat, so there's less room for oxidation. So you could cook with coconut oil at a higher temperature.
So my question of now, pursuing the coconut oil, I lived in Miami from the time I was a very little girl, and the biggest thing was that we would just get the coconuts and get the inside. We'd drink the milk and we'd eat the coconut.
Nice.
Is that still a healthy thing to do?
It is. It has a lot of, like I said, it's a saturated fat, but now we're finding out it has so many health benefits, and it is a fat, and it's perfectly fine. You can use coconut in so many different things, and
I used to like to just eat it.
Yeah, you can just eat it, and you can get coconut flakes for different recipes, and the coconut flesh, and people use coconut water a lot, but I will say coconut water has a lot of sugar. So that's what people are missing. They think coconut, everything is so healthy, but coconut water, make no mistake, it is much healthier than something like Gatorade because it doesn't have all those dyes and added sugars and things. It's natural, but it's still very high in sugar. So you really have to watch that. There's one or two brands that I've seen out there that are lower in sugar, but it's a great electrolyte replacement.
Just buy your coconut.
Yeah, just drink your...
Put there's 3 little holes. But I used to use a screwdriver just to bang the holes out, pour the water out, and use that, right?
That's right. Yeah, if you can do it.
No sugar.
Why not?
Yeah, that's true. We're not, but they do sell coconuts in some stores. I've noticed.
Oh, that's
I have noticed it. And I probably should do that. But okay, we'll get off the coconut. But I was curious because I am using the coconut oil.
That's great.
Now let's talk about the differences in fish.
Okay.
Now, I'm very much into fish, but I really buy wild whenever I can get it. I don't buy any farm
That's good.
raised fish.
That's a good choice.
Talk about that.
The farm raised fish, the concern is that we're fishing out our oceans, and that, and that's why, and there's some economically farm fish, but it's still, most of the farm raised fish has a lot of contaminants in it. The way that they feed them, they feed them with feed instead of the natural plankton and things like that. And a lot of times they're contaminated with either they're feeding them a corn-based food and they're feeding them so that they're growing too fast and they're getting infections, and then they have to use antibiotics. And this is true with our livestock too. And wild fish is better, but you have to be careful with the type of fish as well, because there are larger fish that have a lot of mercury. So that's something to look at. Like if you're getting something like the larger fish that live in deeper waters, they feed on the plankton, and they store the mercury in their muscles. So these are your fish like shark and grouper and tuna. And, a lot of people eat a lot of tuna fish, and it's a concern. And even the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, they recommend no more than, I think it's 5 ounces for every 2 weeks of tuna.
Is that right?
And, there's people that eat it every day for lunch, and that's a concern because of the mercury.
What about swordfish? That's a deep fish, too.
That's a deep water fish as well. Swordfish, shark, tuna, grouper. These are some, and there's a whole list that you can look at. The Environmental Working Group has one, and I have little cards I give out in my office.
I thought you did. I've seen that you covered this, but
little pocket guides.
But I do. I definitely buy my salmon as wild.
That's great.
I know I pay a little bit more, but there's just a difference in it, and I really think it's important.
I think it's important too. We have to worry about the toxic overload in today's world. I mean, there's so much in terms of toxicity that we have to be concerned with, not only in our fish, but in the food in general, in the pesticides and the herbicides and the air and the pollution. And so I really highly, strongly recommend we do detoxes throughout the year. Like my husband and I, we do one maybe quarterly, every 3 to 4 times a year. We do a clinical pharmaceutical-based detox, and it just helps.
Tell me what that's like.
Okay.
So
a lot
before
of people,
you do that,
okay.
I want to tell everybody who you are. I had to get just a charming, most beautiful woman. Nicole Andrews is a registered dietitian. She's a licensed dietitian, nutritionist. And she has her own website, livingfresh.org. But she also practices at Adult and Geriatric Health Center,
Yes.
which is the It's the Adult Geriatric Institute, AGI, Medical and Dental Centers. I got to get that right. In Fort Lauderdale. And she has spoken for us at some of our cure events. And she's just charming, and she really puts out beautiful recipes. So you want to go to her website. All right, now you can answer the question.
Okay. So the detox, it's first you have to understand how our bodies are in a state of burden in today's day and age. It's not like 100 years ago where we didn't have the kind of pesticide burden on the foods and the pollution in the air and the way that the food industry is changing. Also, we're moving at a fast pace, and when we're more stressed out, we produce more toxins as well, and we have trouble eliminating them. So detox programs you have to be careful with, because a lot of people think I'm just going to go to my Whole Foods and get a little cleanse off the shelf, or I'm going to go on a fast, or I'll buy a 2-day juice fast at the market. But that's really not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is from a pharmaceutical-based nutrient company. There's many I use at our office. We have Designs for Health, Metagenics. These are a few, Douglas. These are a few pharmaceutical-based lines. And they have detox kits in their programs, and it comes with a lovely guidebook, and it tells you what to do step by step, so you're not left out into the open, like, what do I do with this? And basically, you avoid all the highly allergenic foods, gluten, dairy, soy, eggs, peanuts, citrus, and shellfish, and the 7 highly allergenic foods. And, and there's a lot of other foods to eat. People think, what else am I going to eat? That's everything. But there's a lot. And it's, and I can help guide you through that as well. And then there's supplements that facilitate the detoxification process. People think I'm going to be in the bathroom all day, but it's really you're urinating a little bit more than usual, not a lot, because toxins actually come out through the urinary system versus what people usually think. They're going to be in the bathroom all day. the other kind of bathroom, but it's really not. It's through your urine that you
Interesting.
that you release the
That's
toxins.
news I didn't know.
Through the program.
So there's no pain in this involved.
No pain unless you're really addicted to sugar, caffeine, or alcohol. That takes some time. Those are like our main addictions. It's hard. I myself had to wean down off of coffee before I started. I'm actually on day 2 right now.
Oh, you're now.
So this is part of my
course.
I said, you know what? It's time. I told my husband. So we're on day 2 of 14. And
there's 14 days.
There's different ones. I have one for like 1 week or 2 week, or there's a 4 week. So different strokes for different folks, but it's anyways, it's a good thing unless, you just have to wean yourself down off of these addictive foods or drinks, because otherwise you can get a mad headache and or just feel really bad. Like some people that are really addicted to sugar, they go through serious withdrawals. They feel horrible. And so sometimes it's better, I recommend, before you start something like this, just start weaning it down slowly so you don't hurt yourself or make yourself miserable.
And you do this for 14 days, but as you said, you're still eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but you're just eating.
Yeah, the particular one that I'm doing now is actually, it's a shake for 2 meals and then 1 healthy meal. And then you can have healthy snacks, like you can have raw nuts or vegetables or, the recommended fruits. And you just, you make sure that you get your 2, and then your supplement packet in the AM and the PM, and a healthy meal at lunch or at dinner. We kind of rotate it so it doesn't get boring. Tonight we're having wild salmon and broccoli, organic broccoli. And, that's it's doable. It's not like you're starving. There's a lot of healthy things you can eat.
You said you do this quarterly, or you do it.
I try to do it 3 to 4 times a year.
And so your accomplishment, tell me if we could see it on an x-ray. What would the accomplishment be of doing this?
Post-detox? Well, just like, I'm a normal person too. So I like to eat. And that's why I like to talk about food all day, because I love food. But no, I start to eat, just too much in terms of whether it's coffee, and, I do put a little organic milk in my coffee, and, whether I have a little bit of soy here and there or some organic corn, like these are some inflammatory foods. I personally have been gluten-free for 10 years. So that's one thing that I always hold true for myself. I have a gluten intolerance. So that, and
Excuse me, how did you know you had a gluten intolerance?
That's a long story. That's a whole show. No,
it's a whole show. Okay.
But I actually, it took a long time, because 10 years ago, it wasn't as prevalent as it is today. And I was sick, and I had...
You actually got sick, and you didn't know why.
I was horribly sick, and I was actually very sick as a baby. And I had multiple allergies, and I was in and out of the hospital for dehydration.
Oh.
And, and it didn't take me... I was 28 when I found that I had gluten intolerance. And after that, I felt much better. And, everybody kept telling me, all the specialists I went and saw, no, it's not gluten. Eat all the gluten you want. You don't have celiac disease. And that's a problem, because not everybody shows up positive for celiac disease. I just became certified as a gluten practitioner. They have that now. It's
Meaning
actually a
that you now
certification.
Can help people who, but first you have to make sure that they are that they have a problem with gluten.
That right, and that's the thing, is what I was saying, is that there is a lot of misdiagnosed people, because when people go in to get tested for celiac disease, whether it's the genetic marker or whether it's a biopsy or whether it's a blood test, a lot of the times, if they're getting a negative, they could still have early stage celiac or severely gluten intolerant, and it's not picking that up as a positive. In fact, if it's a positive, they have to have at least 70% total villus atrophy in their colon, maybe not the genetic marker, but for the other markers, a lot of the other markers, and that's end-stage celiac disease. That's where it's already very progressed. So a lot of people still feel horrible and can tell that when they eat gluten, it's a problem. And a good way to tell is, take it out of your diet 100% for 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay, but all right, so let's just let you stop there because I want to ask you a question. So taking it out, that means you eat no white, anything white?
No.
No bread?
It's so gluten is a protein found in wheat products. So that's bread products, cereal products, baked goods. Soy sauce is made from wheat, unless it's a gluten-free soy sauce, and a lot of beers, which is a problem for the guys. But
that's pretty much it?
That's pretty much it. And so there's a lot of little things that have gluten too, because if you look on the food additives, there's a list that has possible gluten in it, like modified food starch. Is the starch from wheat? Is it from corn? It doesn't really tell you. So those are the things but for the bulk of it, yes, that's it. And, and you could tell if you get it out of your diet for 100% for 2 to 3 weeks and add it right back in a larger amount, like if you have pizza or spaghetti or a sandwich or something, you'll notice, and people think it's just in their stomach that they're supposed to be feeling something. It could be in their head. They could be feeling foggy-headed. They could be feeling forgetful. They could be feeling dizzy. They could feel it in their joints. They could have joint flare-ups. They could have pain in their body.
Interesting. So gluten is not just a fad diet, is it? No. Because that was where did this all come from? Years ago, gluten. We all, So you have a test that someone can come and they can be tested to see if they have any.
We're getting the test. Yeah, we're getting the test. It's a specific company, Prometheus Labs, that does do the panels for gluten. And then and there's a reason why we didn't have to do this 50 to 100 years ago. The genetic, it's not that it's GMO, it's that it's hybridized, and the wheat germ agglutinin has been made stronger and stronger to protect itself from the animals in the way that they formulated the wheat, and is becoming foreign to the human body's gut, and it starts to create an inflammatory process. And so, as we know, inflammation is the crux of all disease. So that's what happens with the wheat today's day and age. It's sad.
No, you must worry about this. Is so what can be confusing to the average person, but you have certainly been specializing in this. You're listening to Nicole Andrews. She's a licensed nutritionist, dietitian, and she is, of course, with Dr. Andy Mencia's organization, which is the AGI, and that's at Fort Lauderdale. That's where you are, the medical centers. And the other thing is, and you can actually ask Dr. Mencia after he examines you if you can go and have Nicole as a nutritionist work with you.
That's right.
In being able to find the right food plan to lose weight, to not be sick. Because as you just said, there may be people who are sick and they think it's because maybe they're just sick, but they're not. It's because of the food that they eat. It
very well could be. There's so much information out there in terms of nutrition and health, and so many people take it upon themselves to just do it alone, and they don't have to. They can come see somebody like me and be helped along the way, to be guided, so that you're not just picking and choosing from the internet, because that could be very dangerous, or just listening to Dr. Oz, which is nice, but
that's been really interesting. Well,
not everything.
Now that you mentioned somebody, remember Dr. Atkins, and Dr. Atkins came up with something that turns out that there's a lot of truth, a lot of good things, but there's also a lot of bad things. But he was amazing that people didn't believe anything, and now it's looking that it's okay to have eggs.
Right.
Which I think you said that, and I crave eggs, so I have to have an egg a day.
That's interesting.
Love eggs.
Yes.
Isn't that amazing?
That's good.
And my dog gets the white of the egg.
Oh.
She loves that too. I don't give her the yellow, but I give her the white. But I just wanted to move with this a little bit. I happen to be someone that, even though I behave because I know fish and chicken are it, I really love beef. I really love meat. Now, of course, I buy it that it's, I go and I buy organic, and I buy the, I love the bison and all. not everyone craves meat. Is that part of something that in my body that I need, or why? It isn't cravings, isn't cravings saying that your body wants something necessarily?
It can be, although in terms of gluten and sugar and dairy, those have found to create what's called gluteo or caseomorphines. So sometimes people that crave flour products of any sort, or sugar or dairy or cheese, that's not the right kind of craving. It's because your body's producing a morphine effect like neurotransmitter that's causing you to crave more and more and more and keep that vicious cycle going. That's not helping your body. Although I do believe that we know if we're craving something like a hamburger or something, then yes, I do believe in giving your body that balance, of course, without the bun. I use lettuce wraps for my burgers. But I mean, it's also now, I mean, as a registered dietitian, things have to be science-based to recommend them. But there's a lot of people that feel good on the blood type diet. And if you're are you O positive?
Yes.
So am I.
No, wait. What's the other one? No, I'm B positive.
Oh, you're B positive.
That's right, B positive. That's how I can remember. I am B positive.
Okay, so I'll have to check my sheets because I do have some information on that. Even though it's not science-based, there's no literature that shows that there's any correlation. But, you know, there are so many people that do feel better. And I actually have kits at the office that if you don't know your blood type, I can tell you what it is. And so it's pretty interesting that
I gave blood so that I could find out. And someone said, you must be O. And I said, okay. And they told me I was B. And I could remember that goes B positive. I'm always positive, right?
Oh, I'll send it to you.
But I mean, you can give me a big sirloin steak and I am in heaven. I can eat a big sirloin steak without anything else.
Well, I think as long as it's grass-fed,
yes,
that's the main idea. And ideally, you really want for health, for optimal health, we want our diet, 2/3 plant-based and 1/3 animal-based. So, we really want the majority of our diet and our meal to have vegetables and be plant-based.
Well, I have to say now with the new packaging of the, what's the lettuce? Not lettuce, but I'm eating a lot of that I would never have eaten before. That vegetable. It's
cabbage.
More than that. It's a different thing. Kale.
Yes.
I am eating so much kale, and but I can have a big thing of that and steak, and we have to go.
That's great. That sounds good.
Thank you. So everybody, please do. If you want to call Nicole, it's 954-446-7477.
Or the main office number.
Which I don't have.
489-1345.
Okay, Nicole, thank you. We'll get you back again. This is great.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's always so much fun.